Hi, good morning. It's Thursday. It's 9 o'clock. I'm Victoria Derbyshire. Welcome to our programme. A leading surgeon has exclusively told this programme that since the government ban on vaginal mesh, which was implanted in thousands of women to treat incontinence or prolapse, there's been a 30% increase in women coming to her to have it removed. We've had exclusive access to film one of those operations.
So it is quite deeply buried. So we're going to have to sort of really cut very close to the urethra to try and track it and get it out. And already we can see some parts of the mesh fragments peeling off the main mesh body.
We'll bring you that film at 9:15. Also, should energy drinks for children and teenagers be banned? The government's considering that because of worries about kids' health and concentration in the classroom. Would you support a ban on selling them to under 16s? What about under 18s? Both options are on the table. Get in touch if you consume them, teach pupils who do, or run a shop where potentially you could be fined for selling them to teenagers in the future. And what message do you think this front cover sends out? US model Tess Holliday, who is a UK size 26, tells us she cried when Cosmopolitan UK asked her to be on the front of the famous fashion mag. Hi, good morning. Welcome to our programme. We're live until 11. Another thing we want to ask you this morning, if you answer work emails or send work emails on your commute, should you be paid for that time? New research out today suggests that because of better access to Wi-Fi on trains and the fact that everyone's got a mobile phone, it's effectively extended the working day. Do you agree? Let me know what your job is, what kind of work you do on your commute, and whether you think you should be paid for that. Tony has tweeted, I email 7 days a week during my annual leave. I even answered an email on Christmas Day. My hourly rate must be a minus figure. And TJJ tweets this, absolutely one should be paid for working whilst commuting or at any other time. From a business perspective, expecting employees to answer emails whenever they arrive, no matter what time of day, is unreasonable and unrealistic. Do get in touch, use the hashtag #VictoriaLive if you're emailing and happy for us to contact you and maybe you want to take part in the programme, i.e. me and you have a conversation. How about that? Please include your phone number in your message. If you text, you'll be charged at the standard network rate. The top news story today, children in England could be banned from buying high caffeine, high sugar energy drinks as part of efforts to tackle childhood obesity. The government has launched a public consultation on its plans. One issue to be decided is whether a ban should apply to under 16s or under 18s. Ben Ando reports.
Children are told these drinks will give them energy, but doctors say drinking them to excess can lead to headaches, sleep problems and upset tummies. Evidence from teachers suggests they can even contribute to children becoming unruly and disruptive in the classroom. But more than anything, health experts believe they're part of the reason why Britain's children are becoming obese. Compared to other soft drinks, energy drinks contain a double whammy of very high caffeine and sugar levels. And children in the UK are guzzling half as much again as their counterparts in Europe. Energy drinks like these are attractive to youngsters in brightly coloured cans and often cheaper than regular soft drinks. But the ingredients list tells a different story. Each of these cans can contain as much sugar as this and as much caffeine as this. The caffeine can cause too much stimulation, the sugar weight gain and tooth decay. As well as hearing from dietitians, doctors and dentists, the government wants to hear from the public. Many supermarkets already have a voluntary ban on selling energy drinks to children, but the government says most smaller retailers haven't signed up. The British Soft Drinks Association does not oppose a ban, but believes a voluntary code is enough, stating on its website that there is no more caffeine in most energy drinks than in a typical cup of coffee, and that many of the ingredients commonly used in energy drinks can be found naturally in other foods. This consultation will last 12 weeks and is part of the second phase of the government's childhood obesity plan. Ben Ando, BBC News.
Particularly keen to hear from you if you are a teacher and you have experience of the kind of disruption that your pupils consuming these energy drinks can apparently cause. Do let me know what it can be like in your classroom when kids have had one of these drinks before they get into the classroom. Right, let's bring you the rest of the morning's news so far. Here's Rachel. Morning.
Good morning. Alex Salmond, who led the Scottish National Party into government and was at the helm during the independence referendum, has quit the SNP to fight allegations of sexual misconduct. Scotland's First Minister Nicola Sturgeon said she felt a huge sadness about the situation. Mr Salmond denies the claims, which relate to his time in office. Our Scotland correspondent Lorna Gordon reports.
Alex Salmond's successor as SNP leader, Nicola Sturgeon, had faced days of pressure to suspend Mr Salmond from the SNP after sexual misconduct allegations emerged. She had said there was no legal basis to do so, but now Mr Salmond has taken matters into his own hands. In a statement, he said, "I did not come into politics to facilitate opposition attacks on the SNP, and, with Parliament returning next week, I have tendered my resignation to remove this line of opposition attack. Most of all, I am conscious that if the party felt forced into suspending me, it would cause substantial internal division." Mr Salmond continues to deny any wrongdoing and says he intends to reapply for party membership in the future. The former First Minister had already announced he was taking the government he used to lead to court over its handling of misconduct allegations. But Nicola Sturgeon has defended the process. In a statement of her own, the First Minister said complaints must be investigated without fear or favour, regardless of the seniority of the person involved. Ms Sturgeon added she is upset by Mr Salmond's resignation, but that any legal processes must now be allowed to take their course. Lorna Gordon, BBC News.
This programme has been told that there's been a huge increase in the number of women inquiring about having their vaginal mesh implant removed since the government banned it in NHS hospitals earlier this year. Vaginal mesh was implanted in thousands of women to treat incontinence or prolapses, but it was banned after hundreds of women complained of severe permanent pain and others were left unable to walk. We'll have an exclusive film following one patient as she underwent surgery to remove her mesh. That's just after 9:15. The troubled payday lender Wonga has said that it is stopping taking new loan applications. In a statement, the company said that it was continuing to assess its options after reports suggested it was on the brink of collapse. It follows a surge in compensation claims against the firm amid a government clampdown on payday lenders. Wonga has faced criticism for its high-cost short-term loans, which some said targeted the vulnerable. The police watchdog says high-risk sex offenders are not checked on enough by Merseyside police and their locations are often unknown by officers. An investigation said the force's sex offender unit, which is also responsible for child protection, was seriously overstretched and highlighted 98 overdue visits to sex offenders in the area. The force says it's addressing the issues. Now, an unmarried mother who is fighting for the right to claim bereavement payments after her partner's death will find out this morning if the Supreme Court has ruled in her favour. Siobhan McLaughlin lived with John Adams, her partner of 23 years, and their 4 children until his death from cancer in 2014. She says the family is being discriminated against because the couple never married. Researchers are suggesting that the daily commute could be treated as part of the working day because so many of us check our emails on the way to and from the office. They say the growing availability of internet access has effectively extended the working day with extra unpaid hours. They say that employers could rethink what they count as working hours. England's schools are facing a severe teacher shortage. That's according to the Education Policy Institute. The independent think tank says as well as teacher shortages, students face bigger class sizes and there are more subjects being taught by staff without a relevant degree. It suggests targeted pay increases could combat the recruitment problem. Theresa May is announcing a security pact with Kenya on the final day of her tour of Africa. She's already visited South Africa and Nigeria in an effort to increase trade. Britain will build a cyber centre in Nairobi to help Kenyan police stop child abuse images being shared online. There'll also be increased funding for airport security. Prince Harry has joked about playing his ancestor King George III in a hip-hop musical that mocks the British monarchy during the founding of modern-day America. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex attended a special performance of Hamilton at the West End's Victoria Palace Theatre to raise money for the Duke's HIV charity Centre Barley. It's thought the evening raised nearly £300,000, and the audience was treated to Harry briefly bursting into song at the end of the show.
You say that's definitely not going to happen. He did try, but I said no.
Shame, that would have been worth seeing. Now, a small village on the southern coast of New Zealand is planning to implement a radical plan to protect its native wildlife by banning all domestic cats. Under the initiative, cat owners in Maui will have to neuter, microchip and register their cats with local authorities. After their pet dies, owners will then not be allowed to replace their cat. Officials say the measure is justified because cameras have shown roaming cats preying on birds, insects and reptiles in the area. That's the summary of the latest BBC News. More from me at 9:30.
Thank you very much. There's probably a gag for that last story, but I'm not clever enough to think of it in time. Thank you for your many messages on whether you think you should be paid on the commute into work because you're answering work emails or sending work emails. Chantal says, the question is, would you choose to do work emails in your own time? Presumably not. And so it's expected that you'll do them in your own time. Then it should definitely count as work time. Mark tweets this: I am always working on my phone around the clock. I work on the basis that a quick answered question here and there during the night helps prevent issues the next working day. And another tweet here: let's turn this on its head. Should your workplace be allowed to email you outside of working hours? And Marfi says this: not in my line of work, no. In what I do, boundaries are vital. Marfi, I need to know what you do. Do let me know what your line of work is, whether effectively the working day is extended because you're doing that work on your commute in. Research out today says you should be paid for that. Use the hashtag Victoria Live. If you're texting, you'll be charged at the standard network rate. OK, let's get some sport. Ollie is here and Andy Murray is out of the US Open.
He is, yes. Good morning to you, Victoria. Lost to Fernando Verdasco. Seconds after Murray lost his game, Cameron Norrie lost his second-round match too.
And in the women's draw, Serena and Venus are going to face each other.
Yeah, for the 30th time, would you believe, this will be that the sisters have faced each other. The first time, I mean, 20 years ago when they met. That was the Australian Open. Just shows how much they've dominated the landscape of the women's game. Both won their second-round matches in straight sets to set up another Williams clash. Serena beat the German Carina Witthöft 6-2, 6-2. Of course, Serena's chasing this record-equalling 24th Grand Slam. This is her comeback year as well after having a baby girl. Last time she played her sister at a Grand Slam, that was the Australian Open final last year, which she won. She leads sister Venus 17-12 on the old head-to-head record. But Venus has joked about this meeting coming up, saying the last time we played at the Australian Open, it was 2 against 1. So at least this time it'll be fair, she said.
Now, the fourth test starts in the next couple of hours. England can win the series against India in Southampton.
They can. Really looking forward to this one, the fourth test. England 2-1 up, of course. They shouldn't lose sight of that. That's what Joe Root has said. They lost so badly at Trent Bridge that you just wonder whether India will carry that momentum into the fourth test. They were brilliant at Trent Bridge, India, with bat and ball. And England have had to tinker as well. Chris Wokes is injured, so Sam Curran comes in. Ollie Pope has been dropped. Moeen Ali gets his chance for his first appearance in this series. He scored a lot of runs for Worcestershire. That's what England are really lacking. He'll also be a useful bowling option too. Johnny Bairstow is going to play despite a broken finger. He'll move up to number 4 in the order as a specialist batsman. Josh Buttler's going to keep wickets. So England chopping and changing a bit. India, though, get this, set to be unchanged, Victoria, for the first time in 4 years. That's 46 tests. That tells you just how happy they are with their team as they look to square the series.
Cheers, Ollie. Thank you very much. More from Ollie throughout the morning. First this morning, the latest in our coverage of vaginal mesh implants. For years, mesh was hailed as a quick fix gynecological solution, a small piece of flexible plastic which could be fitted in 20 minutes or so and do everything from holding up a prolapsed womb to curing stress incontinence. But for many women, it caused severe physical and emotional problems. And last year on this programme, we revealed that hundreds of women were suing the NHS and manufacturers over it. Following our regular coverage of the issue, the government effectively banned mesh in NHS hospitals last month. Now, a leading surgeon has told us exclusively that since the ban, the number of referrals for women inquiring about having their mesh implant removed has gone through the roof. Dr. Susie Elneal says that her workload has increased by 30% since the ban, and she's booking patients into May next year. In a TV first, we followed one patient as she underwent surgery to remove her mesh. This is a vaginal mesh. It's used when... Back in April 2017, this programme revealed how thousands of women had been suffering with extreme complications from vaginal mesh surgery, and 800 of them were suing the NHS and manufacturers.
I can't walk properly, I've lost my job, I've lost my house, I've lost my partner.
Wow.
I've lost everything through mesh.
I have steroid injections for the pain, and I'm on a waiting list to have this barbaric torture item removed.
A top surgeon has told this programme that since the government effectively banned vaginal mesh implants earlier this summer, the number of women inquiring about surgery to have their mesh removed has, quote, gone through the roof.
We're just needing to do more and more, so it's about a 30% increase in our workload. So we have got patients who have come to see me from as far away as Australia, from all over the European Union, from Ireland, from Scotland, from Wales, all wanting help and input.
Now in a TV first, this patient, Sue Black, is allowing us to film her surgery in theatre as she has her vaginal mesh removed. Hi Sue, I'm Victoria, how are you?
Hi, yeah.
Nice to meet you.
You too.
Thank you, is it all right to come in?
Yeah, sure.
So, how's it going?
Yeah, a bit nervous.
Yeah. We are probably a couple of hours or so away from your surgery, where you will have your mesh implant removed. Describe your emotions right now.
Well, obviously a bit scared.
What are you scared of?
I don't know really. It's quite hard to put into words. I mean, I guess like any, I'd be scared before any operation, so I was scared before I had it put in all those years ago. And I guess a bit annoyed really that this procedure has been recommended to me and been done to me when, you know, who knows if the surgeon that put it in 13 years ago knew of all the risks. I don't know if he did or not.
Just describe why you had the implant.
Yeah, I had my daughter in 2004, and straight away, like within hours of her being born, because I'd had 3 children previously, I knew that something was wrong. My incontinence wasn't minimal, you know, basically I could walk, as long as I was walking along a level surface, I was fine, but say if I stepped off a curve, then I'd have an accident basically.
Really?
So it's pretty, to me that's pretty major, you know, and I couldn't do any exercise really where I'd have to do anything. After having the operation, the same day, I was fine basically. So I can see
cured
that
it?
point. Yeah, absolutely it did.
So the
and
mesh
I think
cured your incontinence?
yeah, it totally did. And I think of in terms of an operation to sort that out was the right idea. I just think it's the actual plastic of the mesh which is the thing that's wrong.
So it's moved from the original position when you had it implanted 13 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's got harder.
Yeah, and stiff, I think, yeah.
Right. What do you think about that?
Well, it's scary because it's, you know, it could then slice through my insides. That's kind of how it seems to me. And of course, you know, I'm going to be worried about that all the time if I don't have it taken out.
The immediate outcome will be that, I think, if I've understood this correctly, that you will be incontinent after this mesh has been removed again.
Okay. So yeah, so I've been told that the chances are, I think about 70-30 that I will be, 70% that I will be incontinent as I was previously. So obviously I'm not looking forward to that.
In a few months' time you will have more surgery, is my understanding.
Yeah.
What does that involve and what will that do?
So I think it's reasonably similar to the first operation that I had, so putting in the mesh sling to kind of like hold everything up. But instead of it using mesh, using my own tissue, I think, from my abdomen is what I understand.
Right.
So yeah, that should hopefully be around Christmas time if everything goes to plan.
There are thousands of women with mesh implants.
Yeah.
They've had them for, like you, incontinence and for prolapse. And for many, they have worked, like it has for you. You would say it,
Yeah.
you know, until recently when you realised it had moved and hardened.
Yeah.
What would you say to those women now?
I think get it checked out. We've got the opportunity now to get it checked. You know, you can have a scan which shows up where the mesh is, what kind of condition it's in, whether it's moved, whether it might be affecting your organs. Then make a decision for yourself, because, you know, I'm deciding that this is right for me. It doesn't mean that's the right course of action for everybody. Everyone needs to make their own informed decision.
Well, thank you again for letting us be in theatre as you're having this operation, and obviously we wish you lots of love and luck.
Thank you very much.